She-Hulk deserved better. During a recent interview with Codenames Live on Twitch, I guess, during a recent interview, Tatiana Maslany, I may have just butchered that name, said that she does not think She-Hulk will return for a second season, that they'd used their budget, didn't do particularly well, Marvel's probably not going to do more, and that kind of sucks. If you watched my ranking the Phase 4 video, links somewhere, She-Hulk was one of my favorite things out of Phase 4. It was really great. I didn't particularly love the final episode, but I don't think there was anything necessarily wrong with it, although I understand if you do not like it. But the rest of the season was some of the best MCU stuff we've gotten since Phase 3. It is one of the best things, and some people will say, well, yeah, that's some of the best, and it's terrible. Then people are stupid. It was great. It was different. It was fun. I just don't know what people want from I don't know what people really want from the MCU, right? Like, everyone wants to complain that everything feels the same, everything is, there's too much interconnection, you have to watch all this stuff to get, the stories of what's going on, there's too much to follow. And then here's She-Hulk, a comedy Hulk property, and you need no backstory about anything. You need to know nothing about the MCU to enjoy this show. Very different from everything else, but also feels very MCU, very comic booky. Like it's a comic book. It's She-Hulk, right? And people immediately hated it before it even came out. And why? For what? The VFX weren't great. Disagree. They were great for 80% of the show. The first episode, not the best, but also they rearranged the order of the episodes, and we have problem with VFX artists being overworked, and that will happen when you try to make something that was supposed to be in, I think, episode 3 or 4, and shift it to episode 1 2 weeks before the show airs. You're going to get some shitty effects, but they looked fine. In motion, everything looked fine. You're not going to notice it while just watching the show. It's perfectly acceptable for what they're trying to do. Obviously, it does not look as good as Hulk did in, Endgame. But also, that was, the 5th time we've seen the Hulk in a movie. And at that point, yeah, they got it down pretty well. And while that's transferable, and she did look good for the show, the budget's not the same thing. When they made the Hulk model, they had a much higher budget to make that model for these for these bigger movies. With She-Hulk, the budget was never that high. Even though the budget was extremely high for She-Hulk, that's just how expensive it is to make a Hulk. That kind of effects just cost a lot of money. They just do. So, yeah, the effects weren't the best, but when you watch a show, is it for the effects? Is that what you're... Is that really what you're looking for? Don't get me wrong. If it looked, horrendous, that's different. But once it hits a certain level of acceptability, does it really matter if it doesn't look better? The Flash is considered, was a very popular show. Same thing with Arrow. They look like the ass. They look like trash. And granted, those are network TV, but this is a streaming show. It wasn't, the budget wasn't meant to be this massive movie. It's not supposed to be, Avengers quality or level of detail. It's not realistic to make that into a TV show. And again, this isn't a 2-hour movie or a 3-hour movie. This is 6 hours of stuff. It's long. In comparison, it's quite long. So that kind of stuff does matter. When you have a $300 million TV show, that sounds like an extreme amount of money, but that's $50 million an episode, which again is a lot, but you're also making a Hulk with that, and that's a lot of money, and it just kind of is what it is. I'm not saying that Marvel's budgets should be as high as they are, but also their budgets are as high as they are because we have to pay animators and the effects artists, all that stuff, but then also we don't pay those people, so there's a lot that goes in the budget. So that aside of how much physical money was spent, the cost of creating a Hulk show for 6 episodes or 8 episodes, whatever it was, I believe it was 8 episodes, is a lot more, I think, than people realize. There's a lot more involved in that. And the show looked pretty good considering its budget and the amount of time that the Hulk was on screen, that the She-Hulk is on screen, and also just the fact that it's a streaming show, right? And it's a comedy. It's not like this is like an action-packed, the effects are the selling point. It's a legal comedy. It's like, it's supposed to be funny. That's the point of the show. And you can say it's not funny. I disagree. The Light Elf, hysterical. Having Megan Thee Stallion appear in the show was fun. It was fun. You don't like that she was at the post-credit screen, had her twerking? Who cares? Like, have some fun in your life, people. Jesus Christ. Are you that miserable that, like, oh no, this is ruining the MCU? Like, it's a joke. She's a 30-year-old. Like, relax. It's fun. It's just fun. But more for the show. Tatiana Maslany did great as She-Hulk. Her supporting cast, both great. Nikki and Pug, hilarious. Pug being like a shoe collector and, you know, just an overall like Avengers kind of a nerd, is really fun. And the show is like adult enough where it feels like, you know, it's about adult people, like, you know, people in their 30s, but also it's not, you know, the fake adult, you know, where they have to curse all the time, and they have, you know, it's gotta be graphic, you know, it's not that kind of adult. It feels like it's adults talking and doing things, which is nice. It's a nice change. We also have all the Wong and Madison stuff, which was great. It's funny, it's dumb. Madison's kind of stupid, but it's fun. Wong being catching up on The Sopranos, the decade past show. Jesus, it might be almost 20 years now since that show ended. It's been a long time since The Sopranos went off the air, but he's trying to watch it and getting spoilers from the drunk lady, and like that stuff was fun. We had the Daredevil episode. Daredevil was great in this show. This brought Daredevil back into the MCU after who knew what was going on with, you know, the Netflix stuff. This is how we got Daredevil back, and he was great. He was fantastic. Charlie Cox was born to play Matt Murdock. He is by far one of the best castings that they've ever done for an MCU project. It is fantastic. The Leapfrog guy, he was hilarious. He was stupid, but he was hilarious. The way that they just like subvert and again, I'm not a big fan of the finale, but the way that they subvert the final action set piece that you have to have, and, you know, Hulk returning, and the jackass guy that bought the Wakanda spear becoming a Hulk, and all that. They show all of it, and they're like, you know what? This is stupid. And they're right. It's stupid. Not every show and movie needs these big battles. Like, I get that they're comic books and they're superheroes, and that's fine. But we can have something different. We can have other things. And, like, the way people complain about the MCU being so repetitive and just like constantly the same stuff, you're just getting more and more, it's just the content mill slop. This was different. This was different and good. It was good different. It was funny. It was a lawyer show that just happened to have superpowers. There was nothing like this in the MCU. There's nothing else like it. And yet, it doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like it shouldn't be here. It fits so well into the universe while also being its own thing and having a unique tone and just a unique style. It was fun. It was different. It was the MCU trying something new, which is what everyone says they want. But as soon as they do it, it's like, what is this nonsense? Who is this for? It was good. It was good. And it should have got a second season. I honestly cannot believe it's not getting a second season. That's such a disappointment. It's probably one of, if not the best MCU shows. Personally, you're not going to top WandaVision, but that's a near and dear to me. Taking that aside, it's kind of a toss-up between She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel and which one was the better show. And they were both great. Both deserve more. But Ms. Marvel has been in a movie now. She's been in The Marvels, which is a great movie. I know you didn't watch it. Nobody watched it. You should have watched it. It was good. It was a fun movie, and it was only like an hour. It was like an hour. It was only like an hour and a half long. Like, it was a short movie and a good movie, and we got the Beast post-credit scene. So much fun. Perfect example of what I would like to see more of from the MCU. It had fun, but it didn't draw itself out, and it sort of continued what's going on with the multiverse stuff, but without it being a main focus. You know, it was good. It was nice to see, and She-Hulk should be getting that same treatment. I don't want to see her popping up in everything, but she definitely should be getting a second season. I would like to see her pop up in the Daredevil show, even if it's just like an episode. Obviously, the two things have drastically different tones, and I feel like it's a little bit easier to bring Daredevil into She-Hulk and kind of make him a little sillier in her show than it is to bring her to the Daredevil show and make that silly, because that just has a super serious tone, and that's fine. These actually work super well together, as like they're very similar but also so tonally different that they work well. Like, it's not like we have two of the same thing running. They're both lawyers, they're both superheroes, but one is a legal comedy and one is a super serious, like, the ground level street fight crime, you know, with Matt Murdock being tortured and torturing people. I just watched I was just watching the first season of Daredevil again within the last week or so, and he's like stabbing the guy right above the eye. Like, that's fucking disgusting, but it was great. But also, I don't just need that. Like, it's okay to have something tonally opposite of that, and that's She-Hulk. It's fun. It's just a fun show. The character definitely deserves more. I can't believe that of all the shows that's not going to get a second season, She-Hulk is one of them. Or at the very least, that she doesn't believe that She-Hulk is going to get one. I feel like She-Hulk is a shoo-in, or should be a shoo-in for a second season. The show definitely deserves more. I would love to see more from She-Hulk. Such a good show.